Hi guys! It is officially the end of the year, which means it's time to review all of the books I read. And in this case, we're going to be putting them in order from worst to best. It is December 27th and I have read 66 books so far. My goal for this year was 70 and I'm probably not going to hit it, which is really disappointing. It's okay. I'm proud of myself. I made an upgrade from last year, so that in itself is an improvement. But yeah, we're going to be ranking 63 of those books today. 3 of them I didn't want to rate or like include in the ranking. 2 of them were Powerless and Reckless rereads, and those are like god tier for me, and I like read them for a second time and annotated them, so I don't feel like it counts really. I mean, it counts, but I feel like it would distort our rankings. So I decided not to include those 2 rereads. And then I also, for work, read Judy Moody, and I had no idea where to put that. So I just decided not to include it. So we'll be ranking 63 books today from worst to best. The criteria I used to rank really came down to 3 things. Do I think it's a good book? Is it a well-written book? Is it a book that I could feel confident handing to somebody and saying, this is a good book, I think you would enjoy it? Like, I wouldn't be embarrassed. I think most people will be able to respect the writing in it. Criteria number 2 was, what was my enjoyment level while reading? Was I giggling, kicking my feet, talking about it to everyone I knew, super eager to get home and read? Or did it have like a really buzzy feeling about it? Like, did it have a good cliffhanger that like really affected me in some way? Did the characters have an emotional impact on me? And my third criteria is, what is my post feelings, post enjoyment, post effect of these books? Am I still thinking about them? Do these characters still come up my brain? Am I only thinking about them because I talk about books a lot, or am I thinking of them because they genuinely made a long-term impact on me? So those are the 3 criteria I tried to consider. Last thing before we get started, please be nice to me. If I didn't like a book that you loved, just my opinion. Just be nice. All right, without further ado, the worst book of 2025 was This Is How You Lose the Time War. I did not think this book was going to end up on the bottom, but it most assuredly is. I had mostly zero enjoyment reading this book. I was confused the whole time. I couldn't connect with the characters that had no emotional impact on me. I felt frustrated for most of the time I was reading it. I was finishing it to finish it, not because I enjoyed it. I was actively frustrated and angry when I finished it. It was not an enjoyable experience. I think the book was made to be overcomplicated. Someone was trying to sound really smart or make something really complex when it really needed a lot more context. I hated that book. That's just my opinion. I do not get what people see in it at all. Number 62, sorry mom, is Love in the Time of Cholera. I hated this book. Unfortunately, it's my mom's favorite historical romance. Men commit a lot of evils and atrocities in this world, and that is something I like about romance books. It's escapism, it's the best of the best, it is good people, and Love in the Time of Cholera is not that. Really hard things to grapple with historically that just give me the ick, and that's just not something I want in a book. I didn't really like any of the characters, the story, the romance did not feel earned to me, very misogynistic. I couldn't stand it. If you're a historical romance person, I don't know how you do it, because I can't. The next book is The Silent Patient. I feel like this is another unpopular opinion, but I don't like this book, obviously. The premise is fun. The idea of a woman murdering her husband and going silent afterward is intriguing. I'm not gonna lie to you about that. And I will say, I was eagerly reading to see the twist, and the twist I did enjoy, okay? It wasn't the best thing, but it wasn't the worst thing. But I could not stand being inside a man's miserable head. He was so negative, so hateful. I just couldn't stand that being the character I was stuck in the perspective of, someone I couldn't relate to, feel for. And then the author's portrayal of all the women in this book is very negative. Every single woman is some sort of stereotype or archetype, and there's not a lot of dimensionality, and a lot of them are negative stereotypes and archetypes, and that just gave me the ick, and I don't want to read things like that. Next, we have The Search by Nora Roberts. This book had so much potential, and I feel like that's why I felt so burned by it. It's supposed to be a romance about a woman who trains search and rescue dogs. The concept of that is so fun, but it felt so short. It was also like kind of thrillery, which I was pleasantly surprised by, but it did not work at all. I hated the male main character. I hated the romance they were in. The thriller side of things felt so half-baked. The romance side felt so half-baked. And it just did not come together to make a complete story. Could not stand the male main character. I love men who yearn. I love men who honor the women they're with and pour everything they are into the relationship. This man straight up is like, yeah, she's not that pretty, but I like her. Like, no, I don't want that. Unfortunately, the next book on my list is Fearful by Lauren Roberts. Coming from somebody who is a powerless stan, that is really hard to say. This book just felt so ill-fitted to the rest of the series. I was so excited to be back in a familiar character's mind, but it felt like a completely different person. Like, yeah, they had the same name, but this is not the character I knew. And then the end was very depressing and sad, and I mean, I guess that's fine for a book, but it just felt like such a disappointing conclusion. Yes, you got some answers for the original trilogy, but I feel like they could have been given another way. This book was just simply not it. Next we have Off to the Races by Elsie Silver, I believe. I was really excited about this book. It was, I think, my first, maybe my second, like, cowboy country romance, and I was just so utterly disappointed. Again, issues with the male main character. He had no personality. He had so many parental issues that he needed to get sorted out. I hate when the woman has to fix and emotionally repair the man. Like, do your own work, okay? She did all her own work. Do your own work. The only thing that kept me reading was the whole horse racing world. All right, we're out of like the books I think you flat out should not read. All of those I would say no, skip, not necessary, don't recommend. We're now in the 3-star section where I think these are good books. Some people might like them more than others. These just weren't for me, but yeah, we're a step up now. My next book is Five Survive by Holly Jackson. This has been my least favorite Holly Jackson book that I've read so far. I thought the premise of kids being stuck in an RV and like being hunted was very interesting, but the plot was absolutely crazy. Like, that was one of the books I don't feel like are as well written as her others. Her other books are so like, all the pieces are there, you just have to pluck them out, like it's possible to solve, you know. This book was so like, there's so much information you are not privy to as a reader. It makes it not fun when it's revealed. Well, it's like, yeah, well, how would we know that? Next, we have The Coworker by Frida McFadden. This was fine, not my favorite from her. I didn't like either of our female main characters. Both of them were annoying in their own right, and I did not like the portrayal of somebody who's supposed to be neurodivergent. And it's a very harsh portrayal, and a lot of the characters dislike her, which is fine, but it's like they dislike her for her neurodivergent trait, which is not cool, and I don't feel like it's critiqued on the other characters that they're just being mean, basically. The twist was fun. It kept me reading. I couldn't connect with really anything in the book. So my next book is also probably an unpopular opinion, maybe, I don't know, and that's The Summer I Turned Pretty. There's something about Jenny Han books that translates so well on the screen. Like, I've heard To All the Boys I Loved Before is like mid, but the movie is fantastic. Same thing here. The book was so lame. The show is so good. There's so little that takes place in this book. Like, there's no plot. You're just in Belly's mind experiencing things, which is fine. But she's a teenager. It's hard to be trapped in a teenage girl's mind who's confused and hormonal and frustrated, and it's just, you're frustrated with her decisions. There's nothing really happening. There's so much emotional depth in the show with like the parentage and stuff going behind the scenes. I miss all that. However, I do absolutely love Jenny Han's portrayal of romanticization. Is that even a word? I don't know. I use it a lot because I love it. I do it. I love to romanticize things in my life. Locations, things that happen to me, songs. And Belly does that in The Summer I Turned Pretty. Like, the summer house is such a sacred place, and I feel that way about so many things and places. All right, one last one, and then I'm gonna have to resume filming later. My last one for now is Fangirl Down, I believe by Tessa Bailey. This book is absolutely wild. It's a golf sports romance. I loved the main character in this book. I thought she was so sweet, so funny, great personality. I just hate when women have to fix the men, okay? I can't stand it. He was so broken down, and then he's like, oh my god, my only will to live and keep going is her. And I just find that so unhealthy. I don't like it. He was very negative and self-destructive about everything, and I do not like that. Really, I rated this 3 stars because of the absolute wackiness that is the concept of being a fangirl, like falling in love with their superstar. Like, so bizarre, so cringy at times, but like, I was laughing. I had a lot going on in my life while I was reading this book, and this was a bright spot. Not a really bright spot, but like a comical bright spot. And I feel like had that not been the case, it might have been lower. But the circumstances were right. So many silly, goofy, weird things happen in this book that it probably could have been a 2-star, but because of my enjoyment of it, it's a 3. Specifically, there's one moment, I've mentioned it in other videos, I never give it away, but there's a moment when she has to take her shoes off. And that is all I'll say. Bonkers, hilarious, wild, like all of the adjectives, okay? All right, I will be back at a later time to continue our list where it keeps getting better. All right, we are back. Day 2 of putting every book I read in order. So my least favorite witchy book I read this year was Cackle by Rachel Harrison, and I really wanted to like ride or die for this book, and it was so cute in so many ways. Like the small town vibes, the girly friendships, witchy older woman, like those are all things that I love. But the plot, I didn't really see it going anywhere for a long time. Friendships were kind of toxic at times, and honestly, something that bothered me the most was like our main character's obsession with being in a relationship. That just gives me the ick personally. I just wasn't wowed by it. There was too many little quirks, but I did feel the little sparkly magic vibes at the same time. And next we have Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood. This book was so cute. I really like the coming of age journey. Similar to a lot of other cozy romanticities, I just feel like everything fell a little bit short. Like the romance didn't wow me. The magic system was cool, and that's what kept me reading, but I wasn't blown away by it. I just wanted more of all of it. I feel like all of it needed more explanation, but it was good enough. I do plan on continuing this series. And then the best of the 3 that were like strictly witchy related was A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. Not by much. I really had a hard time between Rewitched and A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. Different witchy world with different witchy rules, and that was fun. More interesting politics at play, lots of interesting characters. I loved the whole innkeeping vibe. I really enjoyed our main character a lot. But again, the romance, didn't really love it, and the plot, maybe cozy books just aren't for me. I just feel like I need more. But this one was a little bit sillier, quirkier, and very inclusive. Like the cast of characters, a wide variety going on there, so that's fun. All right, next we have Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. This book I read during the summer. I wasn't sure if I wanted to read this because I knew it was very spice heavy and specifically like BDSM realm, but I had seen some good reviews for it, and I also find sports romances to be interesting, so I picked it up. And I was pleasantly surprised in some regards and let down in others. I thought this book was going to be crazy, and it just simply was not. Like, for a book that's supposed to be about like, I don't know how to talk about this. It felt just more like trust and communication to me. Like it wasn't that crazy, and that's fine because I didn't really or even really want to experience that. But I guess for a book that's what it's described as, it was just unexpected. More so what bothered me was our main character. I just hate men who are self-sabotagers, who are like, you deserve better than me, and like make that choice for her and instead of letting her decide, or I don't deserve good things in my life, I need to suffer. Like I just don't like that. So that really got on my nerves toward the end of the book, especially when their entire intimate relationship is built on communication, and now you're gonna ghost. Like, please, that just irritated me. I did find the diving world very interesting, and there was an interesting friendship dynamic that I found very fascinating, but overall it was just mid. Next we had Where'd You Go, Bernadette, and I read this because I absolutely love this movie. When I watched this movie, I was in a very much like ready to get out in the world and travel state of my life, and so in the end of the movie, when she finds pure joy in adventure, it makes me cry. It is so moving to me that the wilderness has such an impact on people. Bernadette's character with her insomnia and OCD and all of her quirks was fascinating. I love her daughter. There was so much fun to be had in the movie and in this book. Unfortunately, I was so frustrated with the people Bernadette surrounded herself with. Her husband is an awful man, and that like I was so irritated throughout the duration of the book because the book is told through like multiple mediums and other people's perspectives, and I couldn't stand her husband, and that is so frustrating to me. For such a genius, beautiful, intelligent, adventurous woman, I hate that. But the parts about her daughter and adventure and her being a genius, loved. Next on the list is Iron Flame. I had a really hard time ranking this book because I almost don't remember any of it. I remember reading it because of the ending, the cliffhanger of course, and that I felt like it was too long. It was the longest book I read this year, and the fact that I don't feel like anything of substance happened until the end tells me it was too long. This book is just so repetitive. There was some interesting stuff like toward the middle, like the back half got better, but the beginning is just, oh my god, it drags so bad. This was definitely my least favorite of the series so far. I was the least engaged, least interested, and considered leaving the series there after that. But Rebecca Yarros' cliffhangers keep you coming. Next on my list is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This book I had such high expectations for, but they just fell short. Don't get me wrong, the summer vibes are absolutely spectacular. Like, you will feel how the cover looks. I have a hard time with second chance romances because of exactly what happens in this book. I don't always love dual timeline and then like the whole book you're like waiting for this betrayal to happen. I just don't always love that. In some ways it works, in some books. In this book it did not work for me. Our main character is pretty annoying and I just didn't like her character's growth. I felt like she was very selfish. All of her actions were selfish. Even in the present, I felt like she was acting selfishly. And then also like the past timeline of the book takes place over multiple years and summers, but the present takes over like a mere couple of days. And so I felt like there was a very uneven balance there. I just felt like the expectation I had for this book was like so high and it just fell so short. My next book is The Unhoneymooners. I had so much fun reading this book. Like, I was giggling. I did this one on audio and it was super fun. The premise of it is so interesting, where two people who kind of hate each other are forced to go on a honeymoon together and they're trapped in a hotel room together. Like, all that was so fun and so interesting, and the setting was so summery. I just loved it. But I enjoyed the main character until he like double, triple, quadrupled down on some of his negative actions, and it left our female main character like deserted and alone, and like she couldn't trust herself, and I hated that. And it very much had like a good old boys vibe, like men defending bad men's behavior. Just gave me the ick, and I want to escape that. Okay, I don't want to experience that in a book. So all right, now we are in 4-star and above territory. All the books before this I have a lot of negative connotations with in my brain, some more than others. My experience with them or my remembering of them might be more negative. But everything from here on out is a 4-star or higher. I enjoyed my experience. I have pleasant thoughts about them. I might have some qualms, but overall, enjoyed. My next book is Pumpkinheads, which is a graphic novel. I feel like I have to rate this at the lowest of the 4 stars just because in terms of complexity, like, it's just very, very simple. Like, you can read this in like 45 minutes. It's pretty short, but the illustration is absolutely gorgeous. I picked this up in October, I think, and this encapsulates 1000% fall and Halloween and like fall festivals and all the foods and activities you can do at fall festival. These two teenagers working at this fall festival place, and it's just so cute. They're like running from place to place to place, so you get to see all of the scenes. It was super cute, but not very complex. Next, we have Atomic Habits by James Clear. This is my first and probably only self-help book. I didn't want to be like mansplained to, and that did not happen. There was lots of good advice on how to build and break habits. I was nervous this was going to be super oriented on like either extreme habits or like weight loss, and it really wasn't. There was a good variety of habits built in. All of them are things you probably know or have heard, but like the psychology behind them is explained. So yeah, it's not earth-shattering. It was good, applicable advice. It's fine. It's good. Next, we have a children's novel, which is Mystery in Rocky Mountain National Park. I was given these books as a gift for work, but I wanted to read them before I took them in, so I read the first one this year, and it's super cute. I loved the family bond over the national parks so much. It was so cute. Love when families encourage participation in nature and the treatment of nature very well. It's pretty wild, like not inappropriate, but like a lot of stuff, crazy stuff happens, and And there's even like a little author blurb at the end that's like, this isn't possible, or these are bad parents, why are they left alone so much? And he's literally like, this wouldn't be a good book if they were with their parents all the time. And so you can't blame it for that because he's correct, but it's also like, oh my god, where are your parents, you know? So it was a good time. I enjoyed it. I'll be reading the others. Next we have Killjoy by Holly Jackson. This is a prequel novella to the Girls Guide to Murder series. It's super cute, super fun, super short. I think it's like 120 pages or something. Probably could read it in an afternoon. You can really see Pip's murder solving mind at work, her taking it very seriously. There's some fun suspense moments even though there's not really any real stakes in this book, and there's even some like hints and things in the novella that hints to things that happen in that series, which is pretty cool, and that's why I love Holly Jackson. A cute novella. I recommend if you're a fan of that series. Next we have Bury Bones in the Midnight Soil, and this book actually probably technically should be lower on the list, but I felt like, because I rated it 3.5 stars and I stand by that, but I feel like it was also like better written than like my low 4 stars like children's novels. Like I know it's better written than like a graphic novel and a children's novel, but like my enjoyment of it was like a 3.5, if that makes sense. But in this book I just felt like it was like way uneven. Your portrayal of the characters, like you spent a lot of time with one, and I would have liked it more evenly spread. It took a long time for the characters to intertwine. I did really enjoy the lack of men in this story. Refreshing. I liked the like vampire, like the lore you already know about vampires being included, and then like new things in this universe being added. Really enjoyed that. Love the modern take on it. Super interesting, but it just did not keep me engaged. Like I was not dying to pick this book up. Next we have Gone Girl, kind of similar to Bury Bones in the Midnight Soil. I feel like this book just did not wow me as it wows others, and I feel like this is because the thriller genre has come so far since this book was written. Like I think this book was like the first of its kind with like a gagging twist, but that is like a whole genre of books now, so I just wasn't that flabbergasted by it. I've never seen the movie or read the book before I read this, but I just was not wowed by it. I wasn't shocked by it. I enjoyed a toxic woman getting her loser husband back. Like, I'm sorry, is it inappropriate to ever conduct in real life? Yes. Did I enjoy it in a fiction novel? Also yes. Next we have Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. I read this at the very beginning of the year. It was cute, it was fun. I actually don't remember much of it. I liked the romance, brother's best friend. I love the town so much, as well as the like horseback riding environment. Like, oh, I just love when things aren't toxic. I love escapism. Everyone in this book is so nice and so sweet, and I just love that in a book. It was cute. I really enjoyed it. Is Gone Girl a better written book? Yeah, probably, but my enjoyment of Done and Dusted just edged it out. Next we have When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I liked this book. I love a small town romance, but when one of them's a celebrity, I just it was all right. I also didn't like totally love the male main character. They were both just fine. The plot was a little more interesting to me than Done and Dusted. I just felt like Done and Dusted, the romance didn't really build a whole lot. It was like kind of 0 to 100. This one it built. Forced proximity. She's living in his house. Her celebrity life in the background was pretty interesting to me. I, like I said, love the small town vibes. His sisters being all in his business. It's just fun. It's just good fun time. Next we had Here We Go Again. I was so excited about this book because of the cover. It's gorgeous. It's about travel. It's about teachers. Like, oh my god, love. This is another second chance romance, which I don't know if I realized when I picked this book up. It was another fine, good one. This is a much more emotionally impactful romance book than probably your average. You're dealing a lot with grief and death and found family, so it's very moving in that regard. I didn't love the romance as much because I just wasn't sold by it, I guess. I didn't feel the chemistry between our characters, and it took place in such a short amount of time, which I personally have a hard time with a lot of the time. It was cute. I really more so enjoyed the travel aspect of it more than anything, so that part of it was fun. And the quotes in this book are excellent. The thoughts of the characters, the author just did a great job with all of that. Next we have Out of the Woods. This is a very interesting romance book. It's kind of a second chance romance in the sense that like a married couple has fallen out of love, but neither of them have like wronged each other. They still love each other, but like their respect and adoration for each other has like just fallen to the wayside. I thought the concept of going on a marriage retreat was kind kind of dorky, but it ended up being kind of cute. Taking place in the wilderness, you have that forced proximity again, which I really like. But I just felt like this book would have served so much better from two point of views, because one of our characters was like really struggling in the relationship and the other really wasn't that much, and so it just felt uneven in that way. But then they were also like, we both needed this, we both needed this, but like I would have liked to hear his perspective on why he felt he needed it a little bit more, because it just felt a little bit uneven to me. But it was still really cute, really good. I thought it was an interesting exploration of probably why you shouldn't be getting married so young, but an interesting show of why some people do, like losing your mom at such a young age, like wanting her to be there for that. Like I can sympathize with that, and she got really lucky with the man she married. The conversations of grief in this book are really profound. It was cute, it was good. I just really would have liked a dual POV for this book. Next is a nonfiction, Dear Bob and Sue Season 2, so actually also a sequel. Dear Bob and Sue is a well, it was a podcast first, and now it's a book series where this couple travel to national parks and they write letters to their friends Bob and Sue, and this book details those letters. It's just super fun. Both of the authors, their husband and wife, are really silly, fun, quirky. I feel like it's such a good balance between like a nonfiction that takes itself really seriously. Like it's not just national park facts, here's when we got there, here's what we did, this was cool. It's much more personal than that. It's more silly than that. I do think I would have liked a little more national park focus, but it's still a good time. They're both really funny, chill travelers, which is really enjoyable, and it's really fun escapism. And I really liked in the second book, there's a huge focus on like travel does not always go as expected, and I just really liked looking through that lens in the second book. Next we have The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I really wanted to love this book. I think I just might not be a fantasy girl, and that's okay. I just don't want to think that hard when I read, I don't think. Like this book had a lot of really complex language in the beginning, and I don't know if the book evolved out of like using it or if like me listening to the audio helped me understand it better, but I was really struggling in the beginning. I had to focus really hard and think about what they were saying, which makes me sound dumb, but hey. I eventually did get into it though and did enjoy it. I did feel like it was a little bit highbrow for me at times, like just trying to be like theatrical, I guess. But I did really like once they like got away from like the original setting. I liked the traveling, the trials aspect of it, and the culmination at the end was really fun. Next we have Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This is my first Abby Jimenez book and it was so fun. One qualm I had with this book that is so rare is that I think the male main character deserved better than our female main character. Our female main character was so uncommitted to this man for such a long time, or like trying to push him to the wayside, and that just irritated me, and I felt like she should have stood up to her family, and so like her decision making really irritated me. But the romance was really cute. I love small town vibes, love the male main character, loved our little goat. It was just so cute. Next we have Wayward, which is a witchy book I read like way before witchy season even began. I think I read in the summer, and it was my best witchy book of the year. This is very akin to Barry Bones and the Midnight Soil, but in my opinion is better. You're following witches from multiple timelines, seeing them come into their own and how their stories intertwine, and I just feel like it was done so much better than Barry Bones and the Midnight Soil. There are definitely differences about it. It's definitely not like the same book or anything, but that concept of three witches over time overlapping is what they have in common, but all the characters are so different. But similar to Barry Bones and the Midnight Soil, this one's very like get men back, women stick together. Ugh. I felt so much more empowered by this book than I did Barry Bones and the Midnight Soil personally. And if you liked Barry Bones and the Midnight Soil, please read this because I really think you would like it. Next, shockingly to me and you probably, is Icebreaker. Now, this is considerably farther up on the list than I thought it would be when I finished it. And honestly, the longer that time has gone on, it's grown on me, which is very shocking. Maybe it's because I'm forgetting things, I don't know. I was just so pleasantly surprised by this book. I went into it with a pretty negative mindset because of the reputation it has online. Like one, it's like, or at the time, it was highly touted, highly loved, highly rated. And there was also like this smaller but loud crowd of like, oh my god, this book is so bad, like there's so much spice. There's also this hype around it. So I was like, I have to read it. And then I won a Goodreads giveaway of the book. So then I had to read it. I was pleasantly surprised by this book. Was the spice too much at times? Absolutely. Don't get me wrong there. There's a lot of it. However, I loved strong female main character. I loved her commitment to her sport. I love her history with therapy, needing therapy, her ongoing struggles, her friendship struggles. I enjoyed our male main character a lot. His golden retriever, down to earth energy. His entire like hockey frat in real life would be so toxic, so hateful, and that is just not what happens in this book. It is like truly a utopia. These men are so kind, so sweet. Every single one of them was nice, had a great personality, respects women, and anyone who didn't respect women, they did not like. Like, it was just so refreshing to see that in a college sports atmosphere. I just found it, again, so refreshing. I really thoroughly enjoyed the like friendship aspect of the book, her getting to know and trust his friends when hers weren't being that great. Oh, I was so pleasantly surprised by it. There's like kind of like a third act dramatization that I thought was kind of silly, but overall I enjoyed this book a lot more than I thought I was going to, and I've thought pleasantly on the social environment that takes place in that book many times. Next we have Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. I love a Lila Sage book. I just do. I love going to, is it Meadowlark? Or is that one of her other books? I don't remember, and that's embarrassing. I love these main characters in this book though. Ada and Wes. Oh my god, love them. Wes is like this a bed and breakfast, a B&B owner. He's got like an old building that he wants to reinvigorate to become a travel hotspot, and she's an architect that comes to do that for him. Loved her character, loved his character. They're both so sweet. Forced proximity again. I loved going back to Rebel Blue Ranch. That's what it is. I just love all the characters in that book. The women are so friendly. The men are so non-toxic. It's just good vibes all around. I just really enjoy being in that universe. I also thought that some of the intimacy that was explored in this book was really interesting and not something I've seen in other books, and I'll leave it at that in case you don't want it spoiled, but it was a very positive surprise. Okay, next I have Fourth Wing, and this was my first like true, I guess it's still romantasy, but it's a higher brow fantasy than I had read at that point, because I remember reading and these dragons are talking in their heads and I'm like, no, but what do you mean? Or what do you mean they're feeling what the dragons are feeling? And so that was a little bit hard to get over, and eventually I did. For a lot of this book, I felt like I was reading something a little silly. I felt like it was repetitive, like, okay, we're going to class, like, we get it. Or, okay, your body's hurting, we get it. You know, I just wanted more diversity in what I was reading in terms of content. But I will say the romance was cute. I mean, they're not my favorite couple by any means, but it was fine. Also, I'm just remembering I was annoyed in Iron Flame because of their intentional miscommunication. I forgot that was like one of the most annoying parts of that book, is that they're intentionally miscommunicating. Who does that? Anyway, back to Fourth Wing. The friendships in this book are fun, all of them. Once you get past the silliness of the dragons in the beginning, it is fun. War College is interesting, and the reason why this made it so high, I feel like I would have put it lower on the list, but the ending, it was so buzzy. I finished this late at night in bed, and I had not for a long time had that feeling of like, oh my god, I need to read the next one. I was buzzing with questions and feelings, and that's so seldom in a book, and it's such a fun feeling to have, and it does take a special book to do that. So it did get a little bit higher in my rankings than maybe it otherwise would have, but again, I love the ending. Next, we have kind of a section of books that I've read really recently, and I don't know if it's just because I didn't know where to put them. Like, I felt like they were like high 4-star, better than what I had read most of the year, but is that also because I just read them, you know? So we're gonna rattle these off a little bit quickly. First, we have Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. Super fun thriller. I love Holly Jackson's thrillers. This is akin to A Girl's Guide to Murder, and that all the pieces are out there for you to figure out. I actually figured it out early, which I felt so smart about. I did think there was some like silliness and like the big reveal, like definitely some dramatics. And I was talking to someone recently, we were talking about how in Holly Jackson's books the endings are always a little bit unhinged and there's no difference in this one, but it was fun, it was enjoyable. The premise of trying to solve your own murder in less than 7 days, very interesting. Next we have The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. This book was so surprising to me. I was just talking to someone about this morning too, about how ugly the cover is. I do not like the people's faces on this cover. That is not how I imagine them at all after reading the book at all. This is about like two authors who go on this like retreat to like one of their favorite authors, and then she goes missing. She's a mystery writer and they're trying to put the clues together to find out where she is. And then at the same time you have this romance, this enemies to lovers romance developing. It's so fun. Just simply so fun. I was so surprised by the romance. I thought I'd be more enticed by the mystery plot because that's kind of what the book is more billed as. But honestly, the romance in this was so good. Our mailman character, Ethan freaking Wyatt, I loved him. His pet names for her, his like reassurance of her 100% of the time, spectacular. Next, along a similar vein, is Lovelight Farms. Lovelight Farms is just simply so cute. Love a small town romance, love a best friends to lovers. Like it's adorable. We also have in this book like the Christmas setting, the Christmas tree farm, similar to Icebreaker, not in like the same way, but like the non-toxic, super supportive friends, male and female. Like, oh, I just love it. I want to live in Lovelight Farms so bad. Like all the characters are supportive of each other and awesome, and I just love that. The romance in this book was really cute, but for a holiday romance, I was very pleasantly surprised. Next we have The Martian by Andy Weir. I'm a space girly. I'm a girly of many things, but one of them is a space girly, and I love The Martian, the movie, so I was really excited about reading the book, and it's a very well written book. However, I feel like it would have been like a 5-star had I not seen the movie before, but because I've seen the movie. The book is very, very close to what happens in the movie. The movie is very book accurate, so you don't have that feeling of like, oh my god, what happens next? I need to know, because I already knew what was happening all of the time. But it's still a very well written book. I feel like it's a testament to how high this book is rated, that it's still a very enjoyable book, even though I knew already what was going to happen. But the big climactic moment was teeny bit different than the movie, so I thought that was interesting. Next we have Onyx Storm. Shockingly, I did not think that Onyx Storm would be so high. I really enjoyed this book. For someone who was like, okay, this is fine, it's good for Fourth Wing, and then I was like, okay, this is annoying for Iron Flame, I was so pleasantly surprised by Onyx Storm. The romance grew up, thank God. Characters, we got more of them, and they're outside of that freaking school, thank god. The like repetition was killing me. The little quirks and qualms I had with the first couple books were removed from the third. Love the trials aspect of it. The dragons, I'm finding them more and more interesting within each book. Like, this one just did it the best. I was the most invested, I was listening the closest. I did also listen to this on graphic audio, so did that do a lot of the heavy lifting? I don't know, but personally, my favorite of the series. Next we have Carrie Soda's Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is one that I was pretty blown away at the time, but hasn't continued to wow me since then. I really enjoyed this book because it reminded me of Challengers, and I love that movie. I love a strong woman who knows her worth. Someone in my life, Rachel, I'm talking about you, didn't like how arrogant she was in this book, which I agree, arrogance can be annoying. But when we're talking about a professional sports world, I want women to be more arrogant. Men in the sports they play are so arrogant, and I think it's only fair if women get to be too. And it's so refreshing, honestly, for a woman to know her worth, know her power, know her impact on a sport. So fun. Now, did I agree with everything she said or did? No, not at all. But I do feel like the growth in this book was very earned. Next we have Jurassic Park. I'm also a dinosaur girly. This book is so fun. This is more of a horror novel than a thriller novel. Considerably more graphic than the movies are, I would say. This is the plot of the first movie, but it's much darker than the first movie. And there's differences between the book and the movie that make it much more engaging to read than like the experience I had with The Martian per se. I just felt so much more like thrilled by this book because I didn't know what was coming next, but you still have like those characters you know and love, setting, and dinosaurs you know and love. It was just so fun. It was like so perfectly wrapped up that I don't know if I'm going to continue the series. Like, that's how good it is. I actually read this book because of the commentary that it has on genetic testing, genetic tools being used to like resurrect animals, which was a hot button topic this year. Fascinating. I would give it a read if you're a dinosaur fan, if you're a horror fan, if you're interested in the ethics of genetically modified animals, all of the above. Very interesting. Next we have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Similar to Icebreaker, I was shocked by this book. Did not expect to like it. I am not a supernatural Omegaverse girly. I'm just simply not, and that's okay. But everyone I know is like, oh my god, Bride is so good, you have to read it. And I was like, okay, it's fall, let's read it. And boy, I was so happy to be wrong. I had the most fun time reading this book. I loved Misery, our main character. I loved a modern supernatural romance where it's exactly our world but with vampires and werewolves added. Like, there's still technology and politics. So interesting. I loved Lo, our male main character, until he did the forbidden, oh, I've been dropping hints that I like you, but actually now that you figured it out, I don't like you. I hate that. And that's what took it from a 5 to a 4 for me, because I loved that book otherwise. Tension, the banter, the forced proximity, just the vampire-ishness of it all, the vampiricness. Loved. I would recommend, and I will be reading Mate. Next we have First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. This is a Sleepless in Seattle retelling, so naturally I was going to like it. This book was so fun. I loved our female main character Lucy so much, and even our male main character I really enjoyed until the end. Their maturity discrepancy in this book was what really took it down for me, kind of similar to Bride. I had 5-star feelings through the majority of the book, but our male main character I felt took a little too long to mature. Like, I felt like Lucy probably should have left him there, but otherwise I really did enjoy the rest of the book. The tension, the banter, of course. Forced proximity, being in a small radio studio. Oh, I didn't love the ending. I don't love when romance books wrap up at the last second. Like, okay, they lived happily ever after. I want to sit in it for a minute, and this book kind of did that quick, now we're together and yay, that's it. I want more. I want to sit in it. I want to enjoy it. So those are my only 2 qualms, but otherwise I enjoyed this book so much. Definitely recommend. Next we have Powerful by Lauren Roberts, and you're probably thinking this is kind of high on the list, and you know, you're valid in saying that. However, I did a tandem read with Powerless when I read this book, and so that really enhanced the experience because I felt like I was getting a full novel experience, whereas if I had read Powerful just by itself, I might not have enjoyed it to such a degree. I felt like they could have had a full-length novel and I would have loved it. Reading The Event, if you know what I'm talking about, The Event, from 4 different POVs, stab, 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 ouch, hurts. The ending of the book coming back in the last book, crazy, wild, maddening. Anyway, I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to for a novella, and I loved it. I loved my first tandem read. What can I say? Next we have Bright Young Women, and I went into this blind, and I hope that if you read this or did read it, I hope you went in blind too. I'm not going to say why or what that even means because I don't want you to find out until after you read. This book was so good. Following 2 different women who had a run-in with a serial killer at different points within the story, and it is so fascinating following both of them. The first chapter, I mean, just gagged me from the start. Let's start with that. Absolutely wild. Both of our main characters are so interesting and thoughtful. Oh my god, it just gives me nerves just thinking about what happened. But the most impactful thing I think this book did, and why I was so impressed by it, and why it's set apart from so many other thrillers of a similar nature, is because they gave the man, the serial killer, no credit. The women in the story are female main characters, but also all of our side characters had worth, had personality, had depth, had promise. Our male main character has none. He's an idiot, he's a loser, and I love that our author has this take. We're not glamorizing the serial killer, we're glamorizing the women who deserve it. And I respected this book so much for that. He's not a genius. He's an idiot loser. Yes, thank you. I recommend listening on audio because there's an effect that they use at the end that is absolutely chilling, or personally was chilling to me. And I'm not going to say any more than that, but I really highly recommend this book to anyone who is interested in true crime at all. I think you would love it. We are officially nearing 5-star territory. We're in the 4.5s, 4.75s. We're getting close. Next we have The Favorites by Lane Fargo. This was my first book of the month book ever, and it was so fun. This book is truly akin to like a Taylor Jenkins read. It feels so real, feels so fleshed out while you're reading it. This follows 2 ice skaters and their careers from like poverty to stardom, and their bloodthirstiness to do whatever it takes to become the top player. Just simply so good. I feel like I was watching a documentary while I was reading this. Next we have The God of the Woods, and I feel like you either love or hate this book, and personally I really loved it. I think it's because I listened to it on audio, so I was not confused by the multiple POVs. A summer camp vibe where someone was murdered this many years ago and now this many years has passed and someone's gone missing again, and so you're following, trying to figure that out. And again, I think I figured this one out like a slight bit early, not very long before they revealed it, but a little bit early. I love when all the pieces are there. I love that so much, and this book does that well. Again, I feel like this could have been a documentary. Like, it was that good. It felt that good. This one was recent, and I'm still sitting in the aftermath of it, and that is Lessons in Chemistry. This book is so good, lives up to the hype. This is about Elizabeth Zott, who was a chemist, and she was not respected for her job as a chemist, wasn't taken seriously, and eventually she gets into this TV show where she is cooking, and cooking is a science, and she's making all these women at home feel empowered by her show. But you're also going back in time and seeing her work up to that, her losses and loves. Oh my god, this book was so good. The female-centered language and empowering moments that take place in this book were spectacular. The dismissiveness of societal norms, loved. Powerful monologue at the end, loved. I just really enjoyed this book, and one of the most fun parts was that parts of it the dog kind of narrates, and I just love that. Okay, I just loved it. It was so fun. I need to watch the TV show next. Sorry that the sun's going down. It's literally 1:10 and we've lost our sunlight, which is crazy. Next book on our list is Killers of the Flower Moon. This is a narrative nonfiction, so it's a true story told like a fiction story, so it's very engaging in that way. And I think a lot of people who don't like this book kind of misunderstand it because the title is Killers of the Flower Moon, and then it's like also something about the formation of the FBI, which it's less so that. I read this story because of the wanting to know the atrocities and story behind what happened to these indigenous people in Oklahoma. Not so much for the FBI thing, that was just like a happy coincidence, I guess. And I think other people read this for the FBI thing. But anyways, this book was so good. The narrative nonfiction of it all, so fascinating. It's truly tragic reading this story knowing it's real and then it happened to real people. It's a hard read, I'm not gonna lie to you. The things that were done to indigenous people are still being done to indigenous people. The obstacles intentionally set up and are continued to be set up to make these people's lives harder is a hard read. The number of people that wanted to hurt this one family is hard to read. One of the most shocking and tragic things in this book is that there's obviously a very vibrant community that was current and taking place at the time that this book takes place, and to know that that's literally basically completely gone now. Like at the end you're getting kind of the current update of things, and to know that because of what people did to them that's completely gone is like, it's a hard read, but I feel like it's a necessary read because there's so few documented and well-researched stories as this one. It's heartbreaking. The FBI formation is very interesting too because I did not realize when this book took place there like wasn't really police work, and the police work that was done was like by Joe Schmo doing whatever he wanted with the information. And so that kind of leads into why the FBI is so important, like getting a third party to come out there who's uninvolved, unaffected, wild. Definitely give it a read. I would also recommend reading it physically because the physical copy has pictures of these people and these events, which I think makes it much more impactful. Moving on to a much lighter note, we have Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I loved this book. The miscommunication went too far in this book for me. Again, kind of similar to Iron Flame, like we're miscommunicating on purpose. And I was so frustrated because our character that has anxiety, that you would think would be the miscommunicator because of nerves, is not. He's being direct, he's communicating, and the other person's not, and that is so frustrating. It would have been a 5-star otherwise, but overall this book was very enjoyable. I love fake dating so much. It's ridiculous, and this book has that. The hospital setting was so interesting. I have a personal connection to organ failure and organ donation. That part of the book was very moving. It was such a good time. I loved it. I'm gonna switch up our lighting situation to see if we can alleviate this a little bit. Okay, I don't know if that's better or worse, but we have some like artificial light going on now. Our next book is Leave Only Footprints. This is a non-fiction national parks travel book, and it is like the national parks travel book. This is like the book of my dreams. This is about a man who went through a breakup. He works for a news station and he wants to do a piece on the national parks. And even though he doesn't get the news spot that he wants, he still goes to all the parks and experiences all of them. And it is just so gorgeous. It's the perfect balance between personal experience and actual description of what the places are like. He also categorizes this book in a really interesting way where he groups national parks by things they have in common and not in the ways that you would think, and I found that so fascinating. It did a really good job of showing the sheer impact these places can have on people, and I loved it for that. I feel like more people need to read this. More people need to experience national parks. But if you can't, this is a great way to see the impact it can have on people and why people love them so much. It's just such a good book. Next we have Becoming by Michelle Obama. This book has just only grown on me since I read it. I think I read this in February at the very start of this year, if you know what I'm saying, and it was impactful then, but I've only continued to think about it more since then. Her professionalism, her candor, her demeanor, so refreshing. She accounts her entire life from her childhood up until current, and it is just so moving and impactful how truly simple her life was for so long. And even when she first met Barack, the sudden burst into stardom was so fascinating to read about. I was in the first grade the first time he got elected, and I was more aware the second time when I was in 5th grade, but still I was not privy to what was going on politically at the time, and so getting to hear and explore that was super fun. I enjoyed it so much. Next we have All My Mothers by Joanna Glenn. This book is gorgeous. It's about a woman who was kind of mistreated by her mom. Her mom was very disinterested in her. She has a lot of mental illness, and so she was just not that invested in her own daughter, unfortunately, and it has quite the effect on her for the rest of her life. So you're following her exploring new relationships, friendships, moving away, making a career for herself. I mean, every point of this book I was fascinated, I was gripped, I was moved by the story. I felt like I was reading a nonfiction book, honestly. It was so good. It's like our main character is not perfect, you're following her mistakes, but like I was with her every step of the way. And the ending was so moving to me. It was beautiful. The female friendships in this book are beautiful. I loved it so much. And more people need to be reading this book. Next we have Funny Story by Emily Henry, of course. Daphne Miles made me laugh so many times. I love our little librarian. I love our little sommelier. I love his acts of service. I love her rediscovering herself and being confident in herself again, realizing her worth. I loved it. I loved it. It was so funny. It was so genuine. As you know already, Emily Henry books are so realistic. They're so mature, and I just loved it for that. Again, forced proximity, fake dating. Can you see a trend? I really enjoyed this book. I don't know where it sits on my Emily Henry rankings. Next, Anne of Green Gables. This book is so magical to me. Why is it not talked about more? I know it's a classic, but like I don't see anyone talking about it. Anne of Green Gables is about this girl who gets adopted by this family who wanted a boy and got a girl, and her growing up, her coming into her own, her wearing down the people who adopted to love her. It is just so good. It's so funny. It's so raw. Ugh, I love Anne so much. She is who I am to my core. Her romanticization of things, her zest for life, her joy for life. Ugh, I love her. She makes me laugh. The audiobook especially is really good because both versions I had to listen to, the narrators like grew up her voice throughout the book, which is so cool. This book has just had such an impact on me. I want a physical copy so I can mark it up so bad because it is just that good. I feel like you have to be a similar person to Anne to really understand her and not be annoyed by her, because I have seen some people who are just like, oh my god, she's so annoying. But truly, I love Anne so much. More people need to be like Anne. Her zest for life, her joy for life. Oh, it's just so good. Next we have The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Here we go again, okay? I thought this was gonna be another icebreaker situation. People say this book is cringe. People say, why do you like this book? Whatever, okay? They're wrong. Let me tell you, they're wrong. I'm sad, okay? This is serious. I love this book. I want to reread it already. This book is so good. Again, forced proximity, fake dating. I love it so much. The banter, the tension is absolutely off the charts. I love Dr. Carlson. I love Olive. I love them so much. I cannot wait for the movie. I fear I will be doing a reread before it comes out. I'm so sad I missed out on this book for so long. I was probably the most like giggly I had been for any book the whole year was for The Love Hypothesis. I was having the best time reading that book. Next is If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. Yes, I was correct. This is the most gorgeous seasonal book there ever was. Like, Love Life Arms is good. It's good. It's seasonal. But If It Makes You Happy is a love story first and a seasonal book second, but somehow gorgeously balances the both. It's set in the 90s. We're before technology. Gotta love that. We have our female main character who is post-divorce. We have our male main character who's a single dad. We've got small town vibes. I just loved it. And this felt so like mature, and that it's like a natural development of a relationship. There's not a silly circumstance like fake dating or anything. They're just two people getting to know each other, and that's just so refreshing. It was just so good. The tension, the banter, again, I just love it. It was so good. Small town vibes, of course. I loved the seasonalness of it. You're not only getting the fall that you see on the cover, but you're also getting all the way to Christmas and New Year's. Like, what more could you ask for? It is like the perfect book. I definitely see myself rereading in the future. I was so moved by it. The epilogue made me cry. Whew. All right, we're on our top 5. Next we have Book Lovers by Emily Henry. My ratings as of now, I think this Emily Henry book is on top, but I'm not 100%. Like, it could change upon a reread, but I feel like of my enjoyment levels, I feel like this one was the highest. I feel like it was the best written, most impactful, but we'll have to see upon a reread. I love Nora and Charlie together. They are just cut from the same cloth. I love cutthroat but kind people. They're cutthroat to be good at their jobs, but they're not cutthroat to hurt others. And I loved them coming to realize that about each other. Just so cute. Again, small town. Are you seeing a trend? No fake dating in this one though. Just genuine getting to know each other. The sister vibes in this book are so good. What I'm going to use the rest of my time to say is, why is this not talked about more? Why is Book Lovers in the bottom of everyone's Emily Henry ranking? Open your eyes, people. Next we have The X-Files. This, I kept going back and forth between this and Book Lovers, like which position they should be in. And I ended up putting The X-Files above Book Lovers because of the emotional impact it had on me. I think more people should read it. The X-Files is a second chance romance. Never did I think a second chance romance would be like my top romance of the year. That's crazy. These two were together, broke up for a reason you'll find out throughout the book, and then they are forced to be back together for getting ready for this wedding they're both going to be in, so they're stuck working together. I loved this second chance romance because both of the characters truly do the work, especially our main character. They are really trying to grow and evolve and do better, and I love that. Their natural fall back into their old habits was really fun. I just so deeply connected to our female main character. She's someone who wants to grow up, wants to get on to the next stage of her life, but also so desperately doesn't want to leave what she's in right now or lose the relationships that she has right now. Fear of losing friends? Yeah. All that is me. I just related to her so deeply. Her trying to be there for everyone all the time. Oh my god. It's just so good. So finally you get to the climax. They're getting back together and you're finding out that yes, we've done the work, but they're like, we're not just gonna get back together. We're going to think about this like adults do and really think about what our lives would look like together. This isn't boom, we have feelings for each other, we're back together. They really take the time to think about how their new lives would fit into each other's and, you know, yes, I love you, but is this actually going to propel me forward? Or is it gonna hold me back? It's just so grown, and I feel like people who want like a more mature romance need to read this book because these are developed characters. These are responsible adults that are not making silly rash decisions. It's just so good. It also has my favorite trope ever, which is letter writing. So seldom used, and here it is. I'm gonna be honest with you, my top 3 are so blinded by my love, adoration, and experience while reading these books that maybe they aren't the best written, but they were the best experience to me. All right, number 3, we have Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I adore the Powerless series. It changed me as a reader. That experience reading that book for the first time was incredible. And then I reread the first 2 to read that one. Incredible. I was also on spring break when I read this book, so I really let myself like devour it, like sit for hours on end and read, but also like sit in my emotions. Like I would get to something, a cliffhanger or a crazy moment, and I would stop reading and like sit in that feeling. What are the implications of this happening? How does this connect to something else? How does this make me feel? Am I crying? Let's sit in that. Like I just really took that experience so seriously, maybe even more seriously than I should have, but I adored it. It was so impactful on me. I don't know why, like it really it's like one of the highlights of my year, just sitting in the emotions of that book, like a book series and characters that mattered so much to me, finally getting to like wrap it up and it having like the best of both worlds. You got the trials from the first book, the emotional tension and banter from the second book. You've got it all in book 3, and oh my god, so many emotions, so many reveals. That book gagged me. I had the best time. It was so fun. At our number 2 spot, we have Sirens on the Reaping. Suzanne Collins is just simply that girl. She writes an incredible YA dystopian novel, and there's no way around that. It is heartbreaking. It's gut-wrenching in so many different ways. So much is revealed in this book. You learn even more about Snow that you come to hate. Being in Hamish's point of view is so impactful for this book, but also to connect to the original trilogy, getting to see his experiences, how he got from point A to point B, because the character that you see in the Hunger Games trilogy is so different from where you start in the Singers and the Reaping. It's heartbreaking. You get so many familiar characters, which was so surprising to me. You unfortunately see so many atrocities committed by the government. If you haven't, get on it, because it lives up to the hype. It is that good. The symbolism, the connections to the original book, like pieces I didn't even know I needed to put together are in that book. It's absolutely wild. The epilogue destroyed me. Wow. Just obviously one of my top reads of the year. And here we have my actual top read of the year. If you know me, this is no surprise. It's Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I think about this book on a nearly daily basis. This is the most beautiful journey from a girl who wants to be an astronaut so badly, who gets into the NASA space program, who's with this crew of people she's not that sure about, but she gets to know them and they're found family, and this girl who's just a little bit extra interesting to her, and her extreme desire to get up into space. Like, oh my god, I love smart women. I love women who want a career. I love women who don't care what men have to say about them. Like, this book was just simply so good in 57 different regards. When I'm crying on page 70, you've done something right as an author, okay? Taylor Jenkins Reid knocked it out of the park. The quotes in this book, the character development in this book. I was not bothered at all by the dual timeline. I think it enhanced the story. Weeping through the last 50 pages. It was so good. So good. Taylor Jenkins Reid, you're amazing. You're spectacular, amazing, awesome, okay? I want to reread it, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so sacred to me. It needs a show or something so badly. Like, I need to see this with my 2 eyes. I mean, I did, but like, I need to relive it. I need to see this found family on screen. I feel like I know these people. It's that good, okay? Oh my god. It was just... I can't believe people can look at that book or read that book and be like, yeah, 4 stars. Like, what? Did you... All right, that is every book I've read so far this year, with the exception of the few we talked about at the beginning. I really hope you enjoyed this. This was a long one to film, but I had fun. I love talking about the books that I read. It's a good reminder. It's fun to go back through and walk down memory lane. It was fun to be annoyed in the beginning, and now I'm just having the greatest time reminiscing at the end. Are there any you vehemently disagree with? Be nice, but let me know if there's one I hated that you loved. Or let me know that there's one that I loved that you hated, but be nice about it. Anyway, that's all I have for you. I can't believe this year's over. I'll see you next time.